Hello and welcome to Fast Horses Today. We are going to be covering the start of the race week over at Santa Anita. And Santa Anita does start off their race week with a Pick 6 carryover. The Pick 6 has, I think it's a just over $42,000 carryover in the pool. And that does start in the third race. So let's get started at the Great Race Place. So Santa Anita does start off their day in the first race with an approximate post time about 1 o'clock Pacific. So that's 3 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. Now I'm going to skip over the first couple races. As I mentioned, the Pick 6 does start in the third race with that carryover. As I studied, I couldn't find a ticket that I thought was manageable or affordable for me. So I'm going to end up playing that late Pick 5, which we've talked about many times before. In the carryover days, that late Pick 5 is really worth playing because folks come in with a lot of funds into that Pick 6. If the Pick 6 doesn't start out too well for them, that late Pick 5 really does show a boost in pools. And that just, is evidence in many times this has happened. So I do like the late Pick 5 today. And the late Pick 5 does start in the fourth race of the day. The fourth race has an approximate post time about 2:37 Pacific time. So that's just after 4:30 here in the Central Time Zone. And that fourth race is a mile on the grass, or going 2 turns on the grass. This is a $32,000 claiming race for fillies, that 3-year-olds and up. And there's a little condition on there. If they're older than 3, they can't have won 2 races. But that really doesn't apply. I think they're all non-winners of 2 anyway. So light field here. It's a short field. There's only 6 horses here. I'm going to put 3 horses in. I'm going to throw out the favorite. We'll see. Buyer beware there, but I'm going to throw out the favorite, that being the 2-horse. Here's what I'm going to put in to get this Pick 5 started. I'm going to put the 3-horse who is Infinity Dream for Richard Baltus. This horse gets Kazushi Kimura on him for today. So it looks like Kimura first time on him. So Kimura, can probably improve this horse. This horse does have a decent record on the turf, winning one of her 8 starts on the turf, 2 seconds and a third, and does have the win over at Santa Anita on their grass course and at the mile distance. So I think this horse does fit here. She's 5-2. As I mentioned, it's a kind of a light field, lightly talented field. Infinity Dream, based on her prior races, could certainly get it done here. Going to also put the 5-horse. 5 horses any way the wind blows for Manuel Badia and for the owner Ron Charles. Now these guys are definitely a pair. The Ron Charles stable goes back a long way. You'd see them with a lot of horses in Southern California at one time. But, they took a lot of their stock up north, and now they're back south with the closing of the Northern California circuit. So Manuel Badia does win races, certainly a capable trainer. This horse has had 2 starts in the United States. They brought this horse over from the UK, with a couple starts there. Had 2 starts here in Santa Anita. Both of them were starter allowance races. I thought the horse, she ran some even races. This is certainly a drop in class. You see the horses that come out of those starter races when they go to the claiming level, they certainly do improve and run faster. 9-2 in the program. Tiago Pereira takes the call. This horse, I think, is live with the class drop. And then finally, I'm going to put the 6-horse, who is Motet. Motet comes in for the Ruben Gomez barn. Antonio Fresu takes the call. Now, Fresu has been on this horse before and rode this horse very well. Probably her best, or one of her best finishes, was with Fresu on board. Now, the Ruben Gomez barn, doesn't win all that often, but let's face it, this is a 6-horse field. Someone's got to win here, so maybe Gomez can get it done. This horse has run with better in her lifetime. She's come out of open company allowance races for the most part of her career. She did try claiming races in her last 2. I thought she ran some good races, should be good enough here. So we're going to go with the 3 horses here, start the pick 5 here in the 4th race being the 3, 5, and 6. All right, now let's go over to the 5th race of the day. 5th race, these are babies. These are 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weights here. They're going 4.5 furlongs on the dirt, so they're all just getting started here. Let's hope we could see some nice horses that, can fill up Southern California race cards, out of a race like this. Now, this is an open company race. But as I look through the field, these are mainly Calbreds, and, I think there's one open company horse here. So this is kind of like a Calbred race with one open company horse. So I'm going to put 3 horses in here. I think just based on, the connections, with them getting horses ready early, breeding, and then also some workouts, one of these 3 should get it done. I'm going to go with the 2-horse, who is Sentient Soon. That's for Jeff Bondi. Horse has a nice bullet workout, 47 from the gate. Kyle Frey, certainly Kyle Frey likes getting horses out and going. So, that makes this horse dangerous in a 4.5 furlong race, off that last work. And then also, with the breeding, Dad's Caps horses seem to be pretty fast in the Cowbred ranks. So we'll put this horse in at 5-2. Going to put the 3 horse who is Buena Vida for the Ryan Hansen barn. Adrian Escobedo on the horse. These guys make a nice team. Escobedo, I really like this jock. I've spoken nicely about him. He knows how to get a horse out and going, so this certainly would fit him. Horses by Life is Good. Now, I haven't seen, this is the lone non-Calbred in this race, so this is the open company horse. Life is Good. Haven't seen any Life is Good horses yet. This might be his freshman crop here, but we'll see how good these horses, are, by Life is Good. This horse is 2-1 in the program, has some nice works. As I mentioned, Escobedo's a really good gate boy, and, should get this horse out and running. So we'll put the 3 horse Buena Vida, and then going to put the 7 horse, who is Lahar. Lahar comes out of the Joe Hernandez barn, and then Francisco Monroy gets on the horse. Now, Monroy, I know, is a jock that really rides mainly at Los Alamitos, but let's face it, they're going 4.5 furlongs. That's what these jocks do. They like these sprint races and going short. This horse shows some fast works over in Cyprus, and we'll see if those fast works translate to a 4.5 furlong win at Santa Anita. So we'll put the 7 in there. So we've got the 2, 3, and 7 in the 5th race. All right, now let's move over to the 6th race of the day. 6th race, this is a first-level Calbred allowance race, with an option to claim. They're going a mile on the grass, and these are 3-year-olds only. That option to claim brought in 1 horse here. That really kind of helped fill the field here. There's only 5 horses here in this race. But I'm going to put 3 horses in. I'm going to put the 2 horse who is Euchre for Ryan Hansen, Escobedo on the horse. These guys, as I mentioned, make a nice team. Euchre showed a lot of promise. First out with a win over at Del Mar in a 5 furlong grass race. So it looked like this horse might do something. But, he's shown speed in his races, on grass and also on dirt. Certainly that's what Escobedo does. We'll see. The last time this horse ran, Maldonado was on the horse. Escobedo's back on. So it looks like there's one way to go, get to the lead, see if they can hold off everyone in this mile affair. 2-1, so certainly no secret here. But, we'll put Euchre in here. Going to put the 3 horse who is Eloquent Summer for Paula Capestro. Hector Barrios on the horse. Now, I do like the change. Mirko DeMuro was riding the horse. Hector Barrios is on the horse now. I do like that rider switch. DeMuro rode this horse pretty well the last couple times he rode, but, as I had pointed out, Mirko DeMuro was having a hard time winning races in his last, 2 months of riding in Southern California. I think he's moved back over to the Far East riding, but, DeMuro was struggling there. So I think the rider switch to Hector Barrios should be a good one. Paula Capestro horses have been running well lately. Certainly a capable trainer. She goes through streaks, though, but, I have no problem betting a Paula Capestro horse. So I like this team here, 4-1 on the horse, Eloquent Summer. This horse, has been running in and around this level, running decent races. As I mentioned, I do like the jock switch to Hector Barrios. We'll see if it makes a difference here. We'll put the 3 horse, Eloquent Summer. And then finally, I will put the favorite who is Start the Ride for the Dan Blacker barn. And Ismael Jaramillo takes the call here. Now, Jaramillo is a new addition to this horse. Now, this horse is a stakes winner in the Calbred rank. So this horse won his maiden race on Cal Cup Day in the Cal Cup Derby, going 2 turns. So this horse certainly showed that he likes to go a distance. We'll see if this horse likes the turf. Breeding says, who knows? But again, these are Calbred, so sometimes that just evens out with the Calbred ranks. If they like turf, they don't like turf. If they could run, they probably can run on any surface to beat their foes, beat their peers in the Calbred group. So this horse 6-5, no secret. We'll put Start to Ride in here. Don't want to get kicked out by a favorite like that, especially with Ismael Jaramillo, because he's just been a really super jock there in Southern California since arriving. All right, now let's go to the 7th race of the day. 7th race is a mile on the dirt. And these are California-bred maiden claimers. This is your bottom rung here, $12,500 claimers. These are fillies, 3-year-olds and up, and they're sending them a mile, which I like this. I think that the racing secretaries there in California should probably run more longer races and see if trainers want to put horses in and see if horses could win. A lot of times these horses are just not sprinters, and it's tough for them to win those short races. So in a lower level race like this, makes it interesting. We'll see which horses can go 2 turns. And, is this going to be a stagger fest home? Probably so. But if you've got the winner and, advancing your ticket, you're not really worried at the final time. You're just worried that your horse won. So we're going to put 3 horses in. Going to put the 4 horse, who is a favorite, Bitter Truth, for Craig Lewis. Ismail Jaramillo on the horse. Now, Jaramillo's had this horse the last 2 times. This horse ran some even races, and looking at the film, certainly those races, make this horse a legitimate threat in this race, and why this horse is even money, sure. I just don't know also, it's like maybe this horse should have won her maiden race already. So if you end up singling Bitter Truth, I can't fault you there. There's not a lot in here, but I'm not going to single Bitter Truth. I'm putting 2 other horses beside her. We'll put her in, should be a factor here in a very lightly talented field. Going to also put the 5 horse, who is Danzig Till Dawn, for Dwayne Baker. Now, Dwayne Baker takes the blinkers off this horse, and, Garcia rides a horse again who rode him before. Now, Dwayne Baker's another low percentage, a training outfit. I give this horse a shot here. This horse had been running with maiden special weights, showing some speed in her races, and not finishing up. But, when you drop to this level, you could just get a lot faster. If she were to get out to the lead, she might have some more stamina and some more oomph in the stretch, and maybe hold these horses off. So 6-1, we'll put Danzig Till Dawn in here, and then finally going to put the 7 horse. 7 horses, Go Tiz, for Isidro Tamayo. Ricardo Gonzalez on the horse. Now, Gonzalez has been doing a lot of good work and winning races lately, so got to watch out for him. He's a new addition to this horse. Ayuso had been riding the horse. Certainly Ayuso on a horse is a good thing. We'll see if, Ricardo Gonzalez can do better with this horse. Last time this horse ran, she stumbled pretty badly out of the gate, which really just kind of took her chances out. She's run some races that make her competitive with these horses, 2-1 in the program. If it's situations right, circumstances work out for her, she could certainly be a factor, as I mentioned, in a very lightly talented field. So we'll put the 4, 5, and 7 in the 7th race. All right, now let's go to the last race of the day. Last race of the day, this is a 6-furlong grass sprint. That's on the flat grass course, 6 furlongs. These are California bred, maiden claimers, $50,000 fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And I do have a single in this race. I'm going to put, we'll see if we can maybe catch some prices, and we have it all riding on this single here in the last race. That being the 7 horse, Jenny's Wine Girl. Jenny's Wine Girl comes out of the Richard Baltus barn. This horse is even money in the program. Probably looks to, deserves it. In watching the film in her last couple races, she ran with some nice horses. She got beat by Pure Chaos. I thought she ran really nicely back in March with Pure Chaos. Pure Chaos is a nice horse. She ran really nicely to win that race. Came back to win very nicely as well last week. So no shame in coming third to Pure Chaos. She followed it up with another nice run, coming second to Imperfection. I thought she ran a nice race there too. So, she's shortening up from those mile races. I think that'll be a nice thing. It should put her right in the mix. Maldonado's been on her the last couple times. He's got to know her. So, yeah, I'm sorry it's not exciting, to talk about a horse even money in the program, but I just don't know that, anyone's going to beat her today. A lot of these horses have had their chances. Jenny's Wine Girl looks to have found her friends, as they say. So we're going to single her in the last race of the day and in the pick 5, which, will be a muchly anticipated race. You'll have your pick 6 ending there. We'll see probably a big pool. Have your pick 5 ending there. Some of those other multi-race wagers. So, it'll be an anticipated race for $50,000 California bred claimers. But we'll single that 7 horse, Jenny's Wine Girl. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for the late pick 5 on Friday, May 8th, we have a late pick 5 ticket that does start in the 4th race. So in the 4th race, we're going to start out with the 3-5-6, with the 2-3-7, with the 2-3-5, with the 4-5-7, with the single of the 7, Jenny's Wine Girl, in the last race. Now that pick 5 ticket comes out to be $40.50. $40.50. Remember to have that 50 cents in your account to make that ticket. If you want to add or subtract to this ticket, do what fits you. If you want to play the pick 3s, pick 4s, whatever suits you, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very happy, safe day of racing to open their week. Let's wish ourselves some great luck and some great trips, as we know that can make the difference between winning and losing. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today and listening to the picks. Thanks to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done so, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. It's free. Just delivers the content to you directly. You can always like, dislike, make comments. I promise to respond to everything. We had a lot of comments in our last video. Let's create a discussion. So again, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today. Make this a good day to start out the week over at Santa Anita, and we'll have more coverage throughout the weekend at Santa Anita, the great race place. Thanks again. Have a good one.